I realized that I left my rifle leaning up against a tree. So I'm like, fuck, I need to get this thing. So I reach out of my sleeping bag.
Listen up, maggots. This is the Grouch coming at you loud and clear with another edition of the Weekend Warriors podcast. This is the place for real, no bullshit talk on the harsh realities and irreverent humor around military life. So sit the fuck down, strap in, and get ready for a raw, no-holds-barred discussion. This is the Weekend Warriors. Hey, welcome again to another episode of the Weekend Warriors podcast. Joining me this evening, we've got Bert.
Hi.
Jesus. We've got Steven.
What's up?
Working late nights.
Live,
And
laugh, love it.
For the first time, we've got Mr. Robot. How you doing,
Hello,
DJ?
guys. I'm good. How's everyone?
Are we going to have a dress code for this or something?
Wow.
There's no dress code. There is no dress code.
Anarchy.
Feel free to be as naked as you want, as long as you're not showing anything inappropriate. There's no dress code. There's no censorship whatsoever on the Weekend Warriors podcast.
Don't let North Korea hear that.
None of us are wearing pants. DJ just decided to go no pant, no shirt.
Wow. Uh-oh.
Really wish someone would stand up and their ass would be out.
As we start all these podcasts, let's go around the room and check in with everybody. Berto, how was your day?
Man, Cody just gave me the eyebrow lift. I'm getting ready to go visit him for a month, and not for good reasons. We're going on our annual, or not even annual, but our CTC rotation to NTC, the big validating thing. So it's always absolute mayhem. Got to do pack out and rail load and all that stuff. We've known it's been coming for 2 years, and yet we push everything off to the last minute. So naturally, in warrant officer fashion, I left at noon today and neglected pretty much all of it.
All right.
Yeah. It's not fun. It's not fun, man.
Weren't you just there a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah. You get frequent flyer miles, man. The Army has just one big annex card for everything. They're getting points out the ass, man. Yeah, someone's getting a cruise somewhere.
Steven, what was your day like?
Well, I woke up probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock. I didn't really do anything. I went to the bank, went over to my brother's to drop off some stuff, and that was it.
All right. Low-key day. Low-key.
God, sounds rough.
Retirement is rough.
Yeah.
DJ, how was your day?
Oh man, just saving the world, man. Trying not to burn down. It's a blessing, man. I just laid out toolboxes all over again today. Trying to get ATEC, man, like proving to people, man, that it's the chromosomes, man. Once you get your chromosomes looking like a ladder and they don't do the twisting thing anymore, dude, you could just do so much shit. You could like stare at people for 5 minutes without blinking. You could like start drooling or freaking full send it. But nah, man, just working with projects, man, trying to integrate ATEC into systems that never touched them before, trying to show people that it's possible. You just need to learn how to program.
It's so crazy that I think DJ's chromosomes are so good that he might have just one extra one there.
Absolutely. It's like one or two. You stand in front of a tropo too long, you start to look like the ghouls from Fallout.
Yeah, I'm sure you're down with that, aren't you?
You're down with the sickness.
Okay. We can start over.
Working late nights. What was your day like, man? How was your day?
Well, since I just got done working.
Yeah, you did.
5 minutes before we started this, I don't know, man. Just keeping the grinds. I was lucky enough to stay in the AC for about all of 5% of my day, so very sweaty. But no. Actually, I was checking on my soldiers' pay today because we're all broke. We don't get paid enough. But all of my PFCs and or below, right? They all had an extra $22 on their LES today.
Why 22?
I don't know. They had $22, right? The specialist didn't. Nobody above that rank either. I think.
Whoa, call the IRS. They're fucking rich.
Yeah, right. It is something. I think this is part of like their because I don't know if you guys have been following some of it, but Department of Defense like 2025 budget. They've been talking about a 4.5% pay raise for the DoD, right? Fairly standard. Just depends on whose political party's in office.
Well, it's usually based on the inflation rate.
Exactly. So the inflation rate, right? They looked at it and they're like, these E4 and below, right? What they originally proposed was a 15% pay raise for them on top of the 4.5. So they're looking at a 19.5% pay raise for which is solid in my opinion. I have a double-edged sword to that though. But I mean, if you look at most McDonald's employees, the fresh off the street, flipping fries, burgers, whatever, right? The bare minimum, they're actually getting paid more than a 2-year extent specialist in the Army. So hopefully this pay raise kind of matches that baseline stuff,
Yeah, I think that was the argument for it too.
It's rough, man. It's hard to be a leader right now, especially when stuff like that happens. God forbid you've already got them in the Army. Now you have to convince them that the dude who left high school and went straight to McDonald's is getting paid more than him, but only works 40 hours a week. So and doesn't have to put their life on the line. But yeah, man. I mean, that was my day. I was flabbergasted.
Cody, I don't know if you had a chance to watch episode 2 before the recording of episode 3, but I cut out a lot of the specifics of the issues that you were having at the time, and I did that for privacy reasons, and I just wanted to make sure that we weren't putting out any information that could potentially compromise anybody. But I just wanted to ask you, if everything was resolved successfully.
For the most part. I mean, there's still some internal conflict that I have with the way the organization's ran, and it will work out. I recommend to anyone in the future that is following along with us that if you keep grinding and let's call it the squeaky wheel gets the grease, you'll eventually find that one leader that'll bend over backwards and actually make some impact.
So I know there's a couple hot topics that are coming up. What do we want to discuss this evening? I know we've got some deep episodes that we're going to get into with post-traumatic stress and parenting. Let's keep episode 3 a little bit on the lighter side. So what's on everybody's mind, really?
I know something Cody and I talked about today. How many heat casualties were out there at NTC? That's something I thought was pretty interesting considering I'm going there. He told me I need to drink water.
Heat cats for this rotation, it's above 100.
Holy shit!
That's all the heat cats. 35 helicopter trips to pull people out of the box so far for heat cats. So that's quite a significant number
so lots of 9-line practice.
Yeah, lots of it. And then 2 very severe heat casualties that are not gonna recover very well from their injury. They're
discharge worthy.
They got some scrambled eggs in the brain buckets because of how hot they got.
So here's my question: is it that the training has got too hard, or the service members have gotten too soft?
Yes, and yes. To caveat all of those, I gotta put the sergeant major hat on and be like, hey, leaders, look, if a guy's becoming a heat casualty, all right, cool him off, slow him down or whatever, or just make the fucker drink water. When it gets so severe that you need a helicopter ride home, that's a failure on on everyone who was around him, right?
Yep,
Everyone.
first line, yep. Whoever's with that
Yeah.
person, yeah. Because the desert's no joke, man. Like when I was there, like even at nighttime, like becoming a cold weather casualty at night, like when you're up there on those mountains and that wind chill's coming through, and you're in a soft top Humvee with a sleeping bag, just shivering to death still because it's so cold. Like I would say, not a brutal environment, but just the changes in temperature. Like people think like, oh, I'm gonna go to the desert, I'll be good. You know, I won't. You know, you could take as many clothes as you want off in the desert, but when it gets cold, you know, you're not expecting that dynamic change of weather.
Well,
Yeah.
some guy, one of my soldiers said that to me today. He's like, I'm probably not gonna bring my waffles, and I'm
No,
like,
you fucking playing.
hey brother,
have-
I'm telling you, after a long day of sweating, you're gonna get cold, and if you're off shift, you're gonna want to throw that waffle on to get nice and toasty.
Yeah. Any other rotation out there, right? It's going to be, you know, okay, let's call it February, right? February, it's going to get up to like 70, 75 degrees. And then it's going to drop down to 30, right? And yeah, you're going to freeze your nuts off at night. The worst time that I think is spring, right? April rotations, fucking brutal, right? 80, it can get up to 90. Guaranteed to drop down to 40 at night. When you got 40 degree difference or 45, 50 degree difference, yeah, you put on your snivel gear at night and you're all good to go. But you want to keep it on because it doesn't warm up just enough in the morning. But then by the time you should have taken it off, right, you have already sweated through it. So you're good for that day. But when you go and put cold, sweaty stuff on the next night, you're toast. And that's where you get them every time. July, it stayed above 100 degrees all the way through midnight.
Gee.
And yeah, maybe down to 95 by 4 a.m. and then the sun's back up. There are some crispy critters out there. And the heat cat numbers can still rise. You know, we still got 4 more days of live fire.
So I'm interested. What's everyone's like worst and best field experience? A moment where you're like, this is the worst experience I've ever had in my life. And then like a field experience where you're like, all right, this is pretty fucking cool.
January of 04, prepping to go to Afghanistan by going to Fort Drum. It was negative 55 plus the wind chill. It was super fantastic. But let me tell you how fucking absolutely miserable that was. Like, it didn't matter how much cold weather gear you had on. It didn't matter the fucking Mickey Mouse boots and the fucking bear suit. Dude, I was so fucking cold and miserable. I hated my life. I wanted nothing to do with Fort Drum ever fucking again. March 2nd of 2004, I was in Afghanistan.
So let me ask you a question, because I'm going to lead this up with a cold weather story too. When you guys are on the field and you go to sleep, where do you put your rifle?
Up close to your body. You snuggle that bitch.
That shit's a cold piece of steel. If you leave it out, that thing becomes like deaf ice. Yeah, you gotta sleep with it to keep the body.
Yeah. So that's how I always learned, is like it's gotta be with you. Like, and if your team leader came by and even saw it was like, I can get it away from you, they're gonna get it away from you. So no shit, there I was. 2014, the annexation of Crimea happens, and we started doing the European rotations. It's like when it started. I was in Germany. 173rd was the first to push on all those countries bordering Russia. They were there for 3 months, and then 2CR went. I was with 2CR. We had a company in each country, so a company in Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and then our headquarters company was in Poland. So it was just one squadron for all 4. Now it's like 4 fucking brigades for the same area. And the Lithuania, and we got the briefing, like the guy was trying to be funny. He's like, here in Lithuania, we have 2 seasons, green winter and white winter, because it's so cold. And we just like kind of chuckled. But anyway, so we went during white winter, and it was fucking cold, absolutely miserable cold, and we decided to do a field problem. So we're out there just going all day in marshmallow suits, running around like the Michelin Man. And I go to bed down, and it's a very delicate process because you like got to get like semi-naked, but get in your fart sack so you can stay warm. and I was just shivering absolutely fucking cold. But like 2 minutes after being in my fart sack, I realized that I left my rifle leaning up against a tree. So I'm like, fuck, I need to get this thing. So I reach out of my sleeping bag with a bare hand, and I grab my rifle, and I pull it back inside my sleeping bag. But it was so cold that I got painful contact frostbite from just grabbing my rifle for 5 seconds and putting it in my sleeping bag. My
Tell
hand
me that you were a know-nothing PFC. Please tell me you were a know-nothing PFC that left his rifle leaning against a tree.
It was the tree right next to where I was sleeping. That's what I'll tell you.
E5, E6.
That's what I'll tell you whatever you want to hear.
There was a PFC rank on his chest.
I didn't like leave it. I didn't leave it. It's just it was there as I was getting ready in my sleeping bag. It was right there, and that was the last thing, was to grab it and pull it in. But I forgot. It was only like 2 minutes.
Bro, that tree was transferring all that cold to that damn weapon.
There's some Russian just hiding in the fucking bushes. Like, I can't wait for this motherfucker to go to sleep. He's gonna leave it leaning. I know it, and now I'm gonna kill them all. Yeah, that was so fucking cold, and my hand was just throbbing. And I was like, well, I'm never doing that one again. I didn't realize how cold that metal got.
I was at RSLIC, Reconnaissance Surveillance Leaders course.
Oh.
In 2015. Right, it's only a 30-day course. It's not super difficult. There's some technical stuff to it, but I'm in there with, oh my god, quite a few log tab special forces dudes that slid in on it. Ranger Bat up from Fort Lewis, they had sent their entire scout platoon, right? So just some tough dudes that have been around and doing some stuff. And there's the land nav course. I went in July. It's fucking hot in Georgia, especially Fort Benning. I mean,
I gotta do Red Diamond.
Yeah, Red Diamond. So okay, so it's kind of like Red Diamond, but the rest of all of it. So
yeah,
it's fairly simple, right? It's a gentleman's course, right? You go to your point. Your point is a Humvee, right? They're not hiding a little stake or something, right? It's at the intersection of a road, but you're not allowed to touch a road, be within 50 meters of a road, anything like that. So you're going through briar brush and all this stuff. It's 5 points. Right, you have to get 5 points, and it's day into night. I got to my third point. I have about 3 hours left. I could still make it, but I sat down for a second, checked my map. I mean, I did like full rucksack flop type check my map thing. I'm looking around. I hear the 4-wheelers coming down the road. I'm like, I look back. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm about 100 yards away. I'm all right. And then I went to stand back up, and I thought to myself, why am I here? What the fuck is this school doing for me? This is pointless. I see no incentive, no fruit on the horizon. There is no fucking reason to stand up. And I sat there for 2 more hours waiting for the end of the time so I could walk my happy ass back to the nearest fucking spot. But I like internalized everything that I could possibly question about reality at that moment, because I was just so hot and tired and dehydrated and everything. But I hit that breaking point. If you can make it, you will survive. I didn't make it that time, but so I was definitely a second time go on the land nav course. But it wasn't a horrible field problem or exercise or anything like that. But that was that just pivotal moment that I realized, okay, what separates the brawn from the rest of the fucking society? It was an event like that, just something simple. I didn't feel too bad being a second time go, especially because none of the 11 special forces dudes were a first time go. I talked to many of them, right? And they're like, dude, the start course, easy peasy compared to this recon course, man. Like, so I didn't feel so bad after that. And, I got the motivation, went out and did a second time. And did pretty good. So, yeah.
Hey,
hit me to the
the land nav course at Warrant Officer Candidate School is like
Right
that,
there.
but like the complete opposite. They're like, please use the roads. It's self-correcting. Like, you pretty much
You just if you run in a big circle and follow the rosary, you'll find your points. Like, they have points. So like if you're lost and you don't know, say for instance you plot your point, you don't know where it is, You go run one on the road. Okay, I'm here. I need to get here. Run further up the road. Okay, I'm here. You know, and then just terrain associate your way around.
Yeah, man. I think really what it was is I'd been a recon dude for 8 years at that point. I was feeling solid, very confident in my skills, but my head got to me. Sat down and cried. Did I mention that? Yeah, I did cry. I flat out. Fucking, why am I here?
We've all been there.
Dude, just gave up. Hey, I do have the best field exercise ever, right? When I changed my job from being a cool guy to a fucking nerd. my best field exercise was with this goofy goober down here. All right, there was Bert, myself, and another dude, and we were like the battalion commo reps type deal, and we spent pretty much 90% of our time for JRTC chilling in the cab of an LMTV playing wordscapes.
Like
the
a lot of it.
The three of us on one little cell phone, like, hey man, what's this fucking word? That was it. And it was so nice because it was that was kind of a miserable rotation for everyone, but we spent so much of it trying to break away ourselves from the fucking chaos, and it ended up being fucking awesome.
Yeah, the big part of that was there was one key person we all hated and refused to work with, and we did not want to go inside the talk. We just refused. We weren't allowed to be out doing anything. So we're like, all right, we're just going to hold up in this truck, and when they need us, they need us. But we're going to stay here and we're going to hide.
It did come to a point where we were very, very in touch with each other. Not touching each other, but in touch. Like where if somebody farted, you could tell exactly what MRE they ate fucking 4 hours earlier. That type of thing.
Holy shit. My best friend's gay?
Yeah, something like that. But we were there, man. It was it was fun. That was my first major experience as a non-combat arms dude. And I was like, hey, I can finally enjoy the field. And I don't have to sleep on the ground anymore.
Laughs in 25 series as you see poor S3 personnel pounding and grounding stakes, and they're like, hey, we need people to set up, and you're pretending to do some shit around the stacks. Like, yeah, hey, we're actually working on a network, and dude, satellite, hey, unplug that cable quick. Hey, the internet said, yeah, we're busy right now. Sorry, can't go out there.
You know, it was the year after I reclassed from combat arms to signal that I actually started liking outdoor winter sports, because like, why would I want to go outdoors? I lived out there. I hated it. Like going out in the winter, absolutely not. I want to stay inside where it was warm. That following year, I was like, you know what? I should get out and go snowboarding. I don't have to be out there as much anymore.
Might as well start ice fishing while you're at it.
Hey, make snow angels.
I made a stupid comment to my to one of my first sergeants. He's about to retire, and I was like, "Hey, first sergeant, what are you gonna do when you leave the army? You gonna just travel the U.S.? You gonna go camping a lot?" And he looked at me. He's like, "I spent 24 fucking years camping. You think I'm gonna fucking spend another day outside?" No. I was like, "All right, dumb question. I'm gonna go sweep the motor pool."
With a mop. I don't know.
Bro, that was the engineer brigade next to us when I was stationed in Germany. They were they got in trouble or some shit, bro. We used to call it motor pool after dark. We would lose like a sensitive item, and these guys would be. It was like the boy with the striped pajamas, bro. Like they lived in the barracks next door. It's like, hey, why are you guys still here? Oh, such and such got a DUI, so our first sergeant made us come sweep the motor pool at like 1900. What are you still doing here? Oh, we lost the SKL. They would laugh at us. We'll like flick them off and shit, like fuck you. And they go drinking with them after we all got off fucking lockdown and shit. But yeah, those dudes would be over there doing some dumb shit, bro. Like fucking rearranging chalk blocks like at fucking 9 o'clock at night. Like, who did y'all piss off, bro? Like, y'all must have did something bad.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been that guy on both sides.
So DJ, best and worst field experience?
Going to NCC was the worst one. I'll make this one fast and sweet, bro. So like 10 minutes before we go to the box, Tweedledee and Tweedledum go run to the medics, right? And they're like, oh, we're not feeling good. We got the COVID. We got the cough. The SVAB major puts the fucking swab up their nose, and they go to quarantine. These motherfuckers are on FaceTime hanging out. Hey, what's up, man? I'm in quarantine. Yeah, bitch, we're in quarantine, laughing and shit. And magically, right as we're about to leave, the tests come back positive for these dudes. I said, there's no fucking way. Like, and they're like, well, you don't have a TC, so you're going to stay here. I said, no, the fuck I'm not. Like, so they start driving in the convoy, and I just hopped in this truck. They gave me a random dude. I said, dude, just go to sleep. I don't give a shit. We're about to drive to our fucking site. I'm going to wake you up when I need to make my turn on the map. So we plotted everywhere we had to go and jumped throughout the box with no JBCP. That was like the best and worst. But that kid was getting out of the army in like 2 months. I don't know who he pissed off to go to NTC, but that was the hardest working soldier, no shit, I had. Like, set up the OE254, he would set him up. He would give like ideas about site selection and camouflage. He was a good fucking soldier. I don't know who he had that left the army a bad taste in his mouth, but really upsetting.
Listen, this is one time I don't need you to tell me how I fucked up.
Steven, that's the
Oh.
worst field experience.
I'm gonna have to say Panama. It was great because we got to go do the SF course with no time limits and just to go through it over on Davis. It was the worst because I managed to pull off the side of the road during a ambush and laid my Humvee on its side because I wasn't paying attention. Yeah,
Yeah, that's an oopsie.
we got it out. It had a winch.
So I'm
But
talking about
it was in the
self-recovery,
ditch.
man.
Holy shit.
Self-recovery.
Casually put it on its side.
So that was probably the best and the worst.
That's hard to do with a Humvee, though.
It was a deep culvert.
Yeah, you got in there
All the way.
all the way.
This is Weekend Warriors, where we understand that people do have problems with alcohol. In all seriousness, quite often we as military members and veterans use alcohol as a means of a coping mechanism. And I'm just saying that while we may not exhibit 100% the ideals that we wish to present, we are still in line with the fact that alcohol is not an acceptable coping mechanism. And if you're using that as a coping mechanism for your post-traumatic stress or whatever it is that ails you, please seek help.
Allison learned that I like to come home and have just one drink. And then for like 2 weeks, I didn't come home and have a single drink, anything like that. Felt good. And then kicked up again. And I said, oh, I realized what it is. It was the 2 weeks everyone was on leave and I didn't fucking hate everyone. And then everyone started coming back and I came home like, I need a fucking drink.
You know what? Yeah, there's some fact to that. You're right, Paul. We do use some alcohol and some coping mechanisms. I mean, I would say that I'm definitely a social drinker. If going out or something like that, absolutely. Dinner. If I'm driving, I don't get to have drinks. The Scout's honor on my wife's side. I'll be honest. Open forum with everyone here. Come home. I crack a PBR because I live, laugh, lager all the time. I'll do about four beers, right? Then I'll have dinner. I will come home rarely, maybe once a month, where I won't say hi to my family. I go straight to the liquor cabinet. I pull out the 20-year scotch. I grab my big giant round ball of ice, put it in the glass. Probably way too heavy of a pour, and I will go sit on the back porch and not have a thought, nothing. That I think is probably where my coping dependency would be at. That's the I need to have this drink, not the habitual drink coming home. Beers, a couple beers at the end of the day. I know, and at least my wife has cautioned me to nights like that. Now, I will tell you that if it is one of those Scotch nights, it is only that one. I notice if I gotta hit the hard stuff, it's definitely one of those. This is my coping mechanism.
Yeah, what I heard was it's not my everyday drinking that makes me an alcoholic. It's when I need more than my everyday drinking.
Yeah, it's the I need something fucking harder. I need some sort of bitter thing, and I think that's why I choose Scotch.
You know who's surprised? Someone who surprised me with alcohol consumption. Pretty sure he would come home every day and get drunk, like every day, and just PBRs, twisters, whatever it was, and would just start going and wouldn't stop
until he's gone.
until he's fucking drunk.
When I was working, I would drink daily.
Okay, how
When I-
much?
It varied. Some days it was just a drink. Some days it was a couple of drinks. Anything from an angry orchard or two to a German Hefeweizen, which is probably my favorite. But over the last 2 years, there's no stress, so I don't drink at all. This bottle, which is a little over half, probably right at half. It's hard to tell because of the label. Yeah, probably about half. I bought this bottle in around December the 15th of 22.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, that's how much I drink.
I will say that it is all based on the individual. If you drink to a point that you can recognize that it is impacting you, then yes, fix it yourself. But if you drink to a point where everyone around you can see it's impacting you, fucking listen to them. Do something about it. Do something about it. Help yourself out.
I mean, it sometimes we tend to take things too far into addiction. Instead of sipping it and drinking it as a drink, we try and get it down as fast as we can.
I think there's another thing that factors into our culture, at least in the American side, is that there is a glorification. We're plastered with ads of people having fun while they're drinking. And that's just the way it is, right? So, I mean, it's kind of a capitalist type society, like buy more shit, So, I mean, that's the culture in which we grew up in. It's like, hey, I gotta go out there and binge. I will say this, Rob, where I believe that I am comfortable in my drinking habits now, that they do not impact me, that I cannot function as a father, as a soldier, or anything else. I have been in a situation where I got I got stationed in Korea, left my family and all that home. It was drinking time, man. Let's see how strong this liver is. Lots and lots and lots of drinking. It didn't really show until we went on a 30-day gunnery in Korea. I'm 4 days in and I got the shakes, right? And my buddy next to me, who's my drinking buddy, he's got the fucking shakes, and bad. We're over there eyeballing this fucking bottle of Listerine, going like, ugh, are we gonna do this or not? And it was at that point, it was like, holy shit, let's just calm it down. Let's make it through this fucking 30-day gunnery, and then when we go back, make a pact with each other. Let's not go fucking buck wild that first night back. Pact didn't work the first night, but for the week after, all right, it was like, all right, I got that out of our system. Cool. Right, fucking felt like shit the next night because it's the first time drinking in 30 days, especially after you've already finished through your withdrawals and stuff. Week after, we decided, we're like, hey, let's go, instead of just going to the bars every night, let's spend our weekends going and exploring Korean culture, right? We went to the museums and all that stuff. Right, we really fucking actually had a good cultural experience being stationed abroad and enjoying it. But not to mention, we went to the museums, and we still went to dinner and stuff, and we drank, but not to the point where that questioned our liver's ability to process.
Pretty sure for 10 years straight, my whole life was surrounded around drinking, especially being a single guy in the Army.
I think I'm comfortable in saying in this forum with you guys that I kind of look forward to retiring.
Hell yeah.
And maybe taking my 4, 5, 6, 8 beers after work type thing and turn that into smoking half a bowl and passing out and just enjoying not hearing my tinnitus anymore.
I always said that was the first thing that I was going to do when I retired. Sit on the front porch and smoke a joint.
And
I have still yet to do that. Now, I know, 2.5 years and I've failed miserably. I have, however, dabbled in CBD because the Delta 8s are legal here in Tennessee. It made my tinnitus worse. It made my arthritis worse. I would lay in bed hearing my fucking tinnitus just going off. I mean, I can hear it right now, but it was, I mean, it was amplified, and I was like, I can't deal with this.
I realized that fucking marijuana is one of the greatest gifts that we were ever given, and shame on us for like making it a taboo thing, because I will tell you that my quality of life has dramatically increased given a lack of pills. Now I'm still doing therapy. This is my group therapy, and I go to individual therapy, but this is my group therapy. But I no longer have to take a handful of pills 3 times a day. I just smoke a little bit of weed. And so I don't know. I think that we should be more open to the fact that cannabis is short-lived. It doesn't give you a hangover like alcohol does. It doesn't dehydrate you like alcohol does. There are 1,000 more upsides to cannabis than there is to alcohol.
And I got the wrong stuff because it gave me freaking panic attacks and
It comes down to the science of it. I mean, it's Mother Nature. It's a fucking plant. They have determined, based on the qualities of the plant, different strains will give you different reactions.
I'm ready to try all of them.
In the meantime, I'm gonna try and keep my sanity day in, day out. These new generation of soldiers, they're not giving you trials and tribulations every single day. Then you're not doing your job. We had a 4.9 earthquake here yesterday.
This shit.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the office and I like the big metal roof shaking, and I'm like, it's just a hyperspeed flyover, like because the sonic booms make a shake on the roof. And then a second later, my rolly chair is going back and forth in the office, and then as soon as the shakes are done, my phone's alerting. Earthquake. It was,
I bet you anything.
But yeah, that was kind of cool to actually. I really just can't remember the last time I felt an earthquake. Watch that emergency alert, the earthquake alert, come over my phone. I'm talking half a second after the shakes were done. The mass alert system. No joke, half a second.
Thought they were supposed to do that before.
Well, I mean, come on now. Give them
So it was
a break.
quick.
If you can anticipate an earthquake, right, you'd be a bajillion. We'll call you Uncle Elon. But yeah, for real, it was just kind of cool to see that technology actually happen. All right, and it was finally nice to have an alert on my phone, not be some random Amber alert.
That's why I won't go anywhere near Yellowstone. Dude, have you seen all the prediction about how Yellowstone is going to be the fucking cataclysmic end of the fucking world? It's going to explode like a volcano.
Well, it is. It's
going to create the fucking massive dust cloud that creates an ice age. I want no part of that. I want to be as far away from that as possible. I can withstand a fucking ice age here.
But the cloud will just totally destroy everything. And I mean, if you think about it, man, it takes about a week and a half by the time smoke goes around the planet. Most people have a 5-day window before they can not choke to death. So doom, gloom, and everything in between.
Those videos of the Biscuit Basin blowing up the other day were pretty cool.
Cool, but fucking scary as shit for the people that were there.
And nobody got hurt.
That easily looked like a fucking 150-foot crater.
That was a big boy, right? Yeah. Everybody got really, really lucky, because if you look at the explosion that went up and out, I mean, you look at a lot of videos of 500-pound bombs dropping off. I mean, I know you're not dealing with shrapnel hit go out, but this literally was a cratering charge that went off. 300-degree water that on either side of this 4-foot wide boardwalk.
Bye, Robert. He said, I gotta get off here. The woman is calling.
Yeah, it's probably his inner woman.
It's probably his inner woman.
Yeah, he had to do a sit down wee. Speaking of the sit down wee, I was watching probably my new favorite sport. No homo. But water polo, I had no idea that all of those dudes on the U.S. team are 6'3" and above, 250 pounds or more of pure muscle. They swim the entire damn time, and if you're not the one with the ball in your hand, everyone else is trying to drown you. Grab you by your fucking Speedo and fucking drown you. So 2 things. 1, amazing athletes that I'm thinking deserve way more credit. And 2, I want to know who the hell designed that Speedo, because for some reason it just doesn't come off, break, or rip or nothing. I don't know what it is, right?
It's the Italians.
Yeah, man. The Italians. Those are some mean mean SOBs. My wife was telling me about something about excuse me, I forgot what sport, but there's an female army officer.
She's a shooter. She's a captain, and she's on the marksmanship team.
Is it marksmanship team?
I
No,
think
this
so.
is I don't think it was a shooting sport.
Oh, well, no, she's on the rugby team.
The rugby team, that is.
Sullivan, active duty Army captain and West Point graduate. Wow, apparently the Army has 10 soldiers in the Olympics right now.
Oh, 10. Wow. I know we have a marathoner.
We have Staff Sergeant Rachel Tozier, who's on the Army Marksmanship Unit and Olympic Trap, along with Staff Sergeant Will Hinton, who's also Olympic Trap, Sergeant Sagan Madalena on the 50-meter small bore and 10-meter air rifle, Sergeant Ivan Rowe is on the 50-meter small bore and 10-meter air rifle, Captain Samantha Sullivan is on the women's rugby team, Staff Sergeant Leonard Kaur is on the track and field in the marathon. Specialist Kamal Bey is Greco-Roman wrestling in the 77 kilogram. Master Sergeant Dennis Boshier is the modern pentathlon coach. And Sergeant First Class Spencer Mango is the wrestling coach.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I can appreciate the shooting representation, but with the other athletes out there, man, that's a big accomplishment, you know. That's fucking cool. I like it, man. 10 athletes just from the Army.
10.
That's great.
Yeah,
that ain't too bad.
I mean, unless there's anything super significant that the three of us want to discuss, I think it's good time to wrap.
Pretty solid. Look, stay safe, drink in moderation. You'll get through it.
Remember, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together.
And we'll see you on the next Weekend Warrior.
Just remember, the Lord's good book says everything in moderation is okay.
So I will say I appreciate anybody and everybody that has stuck with us through this episode of the Weekend Warriors podcast. This has been an episode of the Weekend Warriors podcast. This is the Grouch, working late nights, and Steven.
988. Like and subscribe.